welcome to my Demonform cast on crit explanation video. This is not a build guide. I don't show you how to level up to level 80 because that's where this build really starts shining, and I'm not really showing you everything that I'm doing. It's just the explanation of how it works. You may be able to use these tips to make your own build as well. And here is my ascendancy. I actually went for the Infernal Flame so that I don't use mana. I can ignore mana completely, but it does hurt you. You do take the fire damage whenever you hit your maximum Infernal Flame. And I'm going for the regular demon form, which is a 10 stack demon form. 10 stack demon form at level 90. You just have to hit, I believe, 188.5 life regen to keep it going without having to keep on resetting yourself. And I'm actually running the Baydat's will just so that I can get those extra spirits. I do need a lot of spirit for my spirit skill, which I'll explain a little bit why. And what you want to hit first, you actually want to hit the crit notes as well as the spell damage notes. So very importantly, for a cast on crit build, you want to hit as many spell crit as possible. So these crit here are essential. You want to hit all of them first. We hit those crit notes as soon as possible. Then the next thing on a cast on crit build that's also important is your trigger rate. So you want to have these nodes first, just so that you can trigger faster, and as well as these nodes for extra damage. And this is also a trigger rate node too, but it does work with crit. It does give you some type of crit. That's very important. And as well as your mana efficiency cost, so you want to have this. Actually, it's very important as well. Now for survivability, it's up to you how you would like to survive. This build have many ways to survive. Currently, I'm actually running a life unkilled jewelry, so I had two. So I'm actually hitting that 4%. As long as you have 4%, you should be able to survive your self damage. And speaking of self damage, you want to have as much maximum fire resistance as possible. That's why I'm running this gem right here. It actually helps with maximum fire resistance. You gotta have at least 80 or above to survive your self damage. I'm actually currently running at 85 right now, so I'm surviving. Now for survivability, once again, you can run remnants. Like if you have mana remnants on your build, you can actually run around the map and drop those mana remnants and grab these nodes right here. You'll be recovering your life for each remnant you pick up, which is also amazing. I know you're not using mana, but that's one way to survive. And as well as the infusion, those are also remnants. So if you pick up the infusion from your frost bomb, as well as the infusion siphon, when you shock the enemy, that also heal you, so that's also one way to survive. You can also take these nodes here for those extra energy shield. That's what I had at first, but I sacrificed some of those energy shield for more damage. Yeah, so I take these nodes here. But importantly, this gem right here is, I guess I can say is essential just because it will give you the most maximum fire resistance possible. As long as you have these nodes around, you can actually have this hit this one as well. But I thought that reducing my spell projectiles speed is kind of doo-doo. I want it a bit faster because I'm using Spark. And speaking of Spark, I'm using Co-Spark. That's why I'm using Infusion. So with Co-Spark, you are gonna have more base crit. So Co-Spark base crit is 15 instead of the regular Spark. I believe you're at 9%. So that's actually very low. It is better just to use Co-Spark as a trigger because you can hit the 100% with just these nodes that I have here and some on your weapon. and as well as the elemental damage. Oh yes, there's a crit note here as well, so you want to hit this as well, very important. I know I'm talking a lot, but I'll try to explain as much as I can so that whoever's looking at this build or interested in the build, you can go ahead and copy this here. It's nothing too special, but you can always play with your own style. You can go with the recoup if you want. It's not necessarily have to be this build, as long as you can sustain your mana as well as your life cost, then you can just go with whatever tree you want, but you want to make sure you hit the crits and hit the trigger rate. Alright, now let's talk about the skill gem setup. So for my trigger skill, I actually use Spark. So for my Spark, as you can see here, on the co-spark, I am at 100% chance, and on the regular spark is only at 82% chance, so I'm always gonna depend on my co-spark to trigger. And also, if you see the damage different, co-spark actually do more damage too. And for the support gem, actually, on co-spark, I'm using projectile speed. That helps a lot with the, just move around the screen faster, as well as doing more damage whenever the projectile is faster. And I have pinpoint criticals, so I can hit the 100% on cold spark. That's very important. And then pierce 3. So with pierce 3, it's able to pierce everything. I know it does drop the damage a little bit after piercing, but it's very useful whenever it's pierced through the enemy. So I do go with pierce 3. And next important thing is the consider casting. So it's not a skill that I really spam around the map. I just click it once or 2 times per screen whenever I have my infusion. I just click 1 to 2 times per every screen or 2 screen. So pretty much having more damage is better than having more casting speed. And for this support gem, it doesn't have to be flow. If you don't have access to flow, you can go for coal pen instead. That works as well. I believe as long as you have coal pen, or if you don't have flow, you could be running blasphemy with elemental resistant debuff for the enemy. That's also help. Currently I'm running elemental conflux. That's just extra damage, but if you don't have access to the spirit, you can take this out and have blasphemy on with something else, like mana remnant, like I was mentioning earlier in the tree, for more survivability. And then for the cast on crit, I actually this is like a sandbox things. You can play with whatever skill you want, as long as you have efficiency 2 and boundless energy in there. You can replace these 3 out and have whatever combo you want, but this is my cast on crit comet combo. But if you do have question about other combo that you see in my video that you like, just comment below, and then I'll just type it out to you what I have to replace these 3. And then for Frost Wall, actually, Frost Wall is another trigger skill. This is usually for bossing. So whenever I get to the boss, I just press it on top of the boss to trigger all the skill at once. I'm pretty sure every cast and crit build will run Frost Wall, unless they already have enough damage with their spark or something. But with Frost Wall, I'm running Fortress 2, Magnified Effect 2, or Magnify Area, and then Spell Cascade, Pinpoint once again to get that 100%, and then Rising Tempest for the extra damage whenever I cast other elemental skill. And then Frost Bomb obviously to get the infusion, so you can pretty much run whatever to get whatever infusion you are currently using for your trigger skill. It doesn't have to be Spark, but Spark is the most efficient for me, so I run with Frost Bomb. And then obviously for extra damage on bossing, I'm running a Skeletal Cleric. It costs very little, and they can survive pretty well with all this support. Whatever support you want to put in there, it doesn't really matter. I'm running this so that whenever they hit 0 health, they stay alive for another 10 seconds. And then for the soul offering, I'm running Brutus Brain so that whenever I turn them into the soul offering, they don't die, they still give me the buff. Extra damage for bossing. It doesn't really necessary, you don't really use it for mapping. Even map boss too, like you don't really have to use it unless you're lacking in damage. Now siphon element is very important here. You always want to have this to constantly creating that cold infusion or lightning infusion or even fire infusion if you're using whatever skill that require it. But this is how I go around the map without using frostbomb constantly. I just keep making more cold infusion with siphon elements. And sigil for my secondary weapon, my swap weapon, for extra damage. Once again, you will see it later on. I'll have a little showcase of how I use it for bossing. Galvastic Fill, just more for shocking. I mostly use it for a boss, or sometimes I just press it for fun in map, but it's not necessary. And that's pretty much it for the skill gem. You do have this free slot, so you can put whatever skill you want. I put arc just so I can like replace the skill easily and quick. Alright, and now the gearing part. Actually, as I was mentioning earlier when I was in the skill tree, that I'm using this glove right here, the unique glove, that allow you to have always gonna have 250 crit bonus. Now if you are a person that can go over 250, then use a different glove, any other glove that gives you damage or whatever you like. But for me, I use this. And obviously I was speaking about having maximum fire resistance, so I did hit it with the soul core here to give me those extra fire resistance to be as steady as 85%, so I can take less damage from Infernal Flame. And the essential you need really, though, that's one of them. And then the other one would be the ring here. This ring helps a lot with the trigger rate actually, because it gives you that energy gain for your trigger rates, as well as the spell that actually triggers spell damage, and the crit chance. Now for the last prefix, you can just go for something else. It doesn't have to be gain extra cold damage, could be anything, up to your liking. That's just extra damage for me because I like cold skill. Now for my weapon, this is just normal. I mean, as long as you go for damage and have high crit chance and as well as levels, you're good. You don't really have to get crit bonus or cast speed in here. I don't really run those. It doesn't really matter to me. Anyone works. It doesn't have to be Galvastic Fail, but I just find that I mean, this is the only other useful one that I can think of in a fight with boss. Other than that, I mean, dueling one probably be way better. And this is my focus. My focus is just, again, just mainly go for damage and crit chance. Now cast speed is not really required, but it's nice to have. And then for my armor and helmet and boots, now those three are where you want to be focusing for your defense, as well as your life regen. Very important for this build specifically, because again, once you are level 90, you're gonna need a lot of regen. As you can see, I'm at 191.9 with these gear. So the helmets I have 20, and then for the armor I actually have 34, as and a lot of life. You can't forget about life, as much life as you can, and as well as spirit. So the more life you have, the more spirit you have as well, in order to run these other support, as well as these spirit gem that I was running. And yes, hit those resistant, that's an obvious. For fire, very importantly, you want to be at least above 100%, just because sometimes you get debuffs to fall under 80 or under 85. You want to always be above that 100 just to be safe. And then yes, the armor does, having faster start energy shield charge does help me regen my energy shield before I take the next Infernal Flame hit. And again, more life and resistant. This one as well, more life and resistant. Another thing that you can replace Energy shield with is mana. Having a lot of mana actually help as well. I had 3000 Infernal Flame before, but it's working for me at 2000 now, so it's fine because I'm doing more damage now with the gear I have. So, but it's up to you. Having more than 2000 is probably safer, to be honest with you. And for my amulets, I also have a lot of life regen here, and of course the level 2 spell, very important. That's how you get more damage, and life, get as much life as possible. You see here I have 2 life prefix for this amulet. Now for spell damage it's just plus. You could have something else, but it helps a lot. And for the belt, this is not a essential item really. You can find another belt that gives you life, then you should be fine. Or mana as well, because this is just if you have the money for and you want to have fun in mapping, go ahead and go with the headhunter. But if you don't have it, it still works just fine. It doesn't really need to be the headhunter at all. Now normally when I run this belt, I already have so much defense. I actually don't need this ring. If I take it off, you can see I'm actually at cap for most of my resistances. You could be running another ring that give you more mana. So as you can see here, I'm at under 2000, but I put this on. I'm at almost 2700, which is great. There's a lot more mana. Anyways, that's pretty much it for my gear. Now for the charm, is up to you. This is not required. It does give you more damage, but you can run primate or any cold damage or even cat if you want to. This is just something extra for fun if you want to add it. Now 2 important charms are actually the frozen charm, because I don't like to be frozen, as well as the dowsing charm, so that I don't burn myself from Infernal Flame. I mean, this helps a lot with the burning damage. Alright, so now we're going to talk about the bossing setup. So pretty much, you go to any boss, most of the time they're just going to have like a long time wait. So usually I just drop my sigil here, then I give the soul offer, then drop my wall. And that's pretty much it. As long as you use any skill to break the wall, you can use either Spark to break the wall, or you can use your Frost Bomb to break the wall, or any skill, honestly. Once you break the wall, it pretty much just triggers help, and you have 3 casts of those walls. So just if the boss doesn't die in the first wall and they're frozen, then just drop 1 or 2 more walls and pretty much the boss is gone. Now if you normally for mapping, you don't really have to do all that setup. You don't have to drop the sigil or even doing the soul offering. Usually those map boss, they die pretty quick unless you're lacking on damage. Then I say either this whole setup thing, it's just extra damage once again, but that's up to how you play. But there is my setup.